Imagine you're walking through New York during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The streets are overflowing with football fans. Argentina, Brazil, England, Mexico. Every nation has its own colors, its own songs, its own traditions, but suddenly one crowd does something completely different. Thousands of people dressed in red and white sit down at exactly the same time. A deep drum begins to echo. Boom, boom, boom. Then every arm moves forward, together, and back, again and again. It looks less like football and more like an ancient Viking ship crossing the ocean. The celebration became known as the Viking Row. Videos of it spread across the internet in hours. Soon, it wasn't just happening inside stadiums. Fans repeated it on ferries around Manhattan, in public squares, on city streets. Even people who weren't Norwegian wanted to join. So why did one simple movement become one of the biggest fan phenomena of the 2026 World Cup? The answer begins nearly 1,000 years ago, long before football existed. Norway was home to the Vikings. Their longships were unlike anything Europe had ever seen, fast, silent, built to cross impossible seas. But those ships had one weakness: they only moved if everyone rowed together. One person rowing too early or too late could slow the entire crew. For Viking warriors, synchronization wasn't just impressive, it meant survival. Every journey depended on dozens of strangers moving as one. Centuries later, the ships disappeared, but the symbol never did. Modern Norway still embraces Viking history as part of its national identity. You can see it in museums, festivals, sports, and now, football. But history alone doesn't explain why millions of people love the Viking Row. There's something deeper happening. Humans naturally imitate synchronized movement. Psychologists have found that when large groups clap, sing, march, or move together, people feel a stronger sense of trust and belonging. It's one reason military drills exist. It's why concerts feel electric. And it's why football chants can send chills through an entire stadium. The Viking Row combines all of those feelings into one simple action. You don't need to know the words. You don't need musical talent. You don't even need to be Norwegian. You simply sit down, grab an imaginary oar, and follow the rhythm. Within seconds, you're no longer watching the crowd. You're part of it. That's exactly what happened during the World Cup. What began as a celebration among Norwegian supporters quickly attracted everyone around them. Visitors stopped to record videos. Children copied the movement. Supporters from other countries joined without hesitation. For a few moments, nationality didn't seem to matter. Everyone was rowing the same invisible ship. And perhaps that's why the celebration spread so quickly online. Most viral trends asked people to stand out. The Viking Row asked people to do the opposite. Move together. Not as individuals, but as one crew. Football has always been more than a game. The best moments rarely come from tactics alone. They come from shared emotion. A last-minute goal, a stadium singing together, a nation celebrating as one. The Viking Row captured that feeling without saying a single word. It reminded people that football isn't only about what happens on the pitch. Sometimes, the most unforgettable moments happen in the stands, or on a ferry, or in the middle of a city thousands of miles from home. In the end, the Viking Row wasn't really about Vikings, and it wasn't only about Norway. It was about something much older. For thousands of years, humans have gathered around shared rhythms, around drums, around songs, around movement, because moving together creates something that standing alone never can. Maybe that's why millions of people couldn't stop watching, not because they understood the tradition, but because they understood the feeling. Sometimes, the strongest team isn't the one with the best players, it's the one that rows together.